Hello everybody, we've got a fun one today. It's 20 under 20, where I'm going to talk about 20 Final Fantasy cards that are each under $1, meaning you can get this entire list for under 20 bucks, which is actually really cool considering that most of the set is very expensive, and that's if you're collecting it from like the collector boxes and that kind of thing. If you're not collecting collector boxes, well, most of the set is bottoming out. A lot of really good cards that people were like super hyped on that were $10 are now under $1, which is honestly really amazing. Also, I lied about the title because there's 25 cards, but you know, 20 under 20 sounds better than 25 under 25. I kind of did a fib. So there's 25 cards on here because I just couldn't make those extra 5 cuts. But you know what? For all the people that are going to be annoyed by this, I don't care because I know the guy that works here. I don't care. Look at this beautiful list of patrons that believe in the channel so much that they go the extra mile and support on Patreon. We really appreciate all of you so much. We are cruising to 10K, and that is the goal. Really fast, before we talk about this list, I want to talk about our beautiful channel sponsor, Card Conduit. Card Conduit is a great resource for selling your Magic the Gathering cards. Take your cards that are 50 cents or more that you don't want, send them to Card Conduit. Card Conduit is going to use the best buy lists to make sure that you get the most out of your collection. Choose between one of 3 different services depending on the amount of pre-work that you want to do, and rest easy knowing that your cards are in good hands and they are going to send you money. Use our code MartyMagic to save 10% on your fees when you check out. Also, thank you to Dragon Shield, which is a fantastic spot to protect your cards. I've been using Dragon Shield sleeves since I started playing in 2009, and I am not going to change. Cue that song. I don't care if you use other sleeves, because I use Dragon Shield. And those are the best. If anybody else sings about sleeves, link it to me in the description of the video, or your mattress is free. All right, now it's time to talk about 20 cards from Final Fantasy that I think are great. So I scoured the entire list. These are base copy versions of cards. These are not the flashy, full art, strike a pose, through the ages cards. These are from the main set and also the Commander set, because there are cards that are exclusive to the Commander product that only appear in that product. I'll make sure to notate which cards are which when I talk about them, but I'm going to read through each of these cards, and you're going to get an idea of what cards I think that you could buy. So if you're the kind of person who was like, man, I was just not really interested in Final Fantasy, I didn't buy any of these cards, there are some really good effects in here from this set that you might want in your deck. And if you're ready to like circle around and be like, you know what, I'm ready to take a look at Final Fantasy and see if there was anything in there that I missed, well, now is a great time to do it. Most of this set is bottomed out because so many people are opening it that these cards are racing to the bottom. So every single card on this list, with the exception of like 2 or 3, are under $1. And those 2 or 3 that aren't under $1 are like $1.50. So I cheated a little bit there as well. But I don't care. I'm going to stop with that song. It's just so catchy. I don't care if you don't like it. The first card I want to talk about is Summoner's Sending. 1 and a white. Now this card is from the Commander deck, which is, you can tell by that cute little chocobo set symbol. This is an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile target creature card from a graveyard. If you do, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Put a 1/1 counter on it if the exiled card's mana value is 4 or greater. This is pretty sweet. This is like a conditional rest in peace. That way you're not like hosing everything. You're able to like pick and choose. Oh, you know what? This card is pesky. I want that card to go away. Oh, you're the Reanimator deck? Let's get rid of that really annoying card, because there's a card later on in this list that does so much reanimation with graveyards. It just drives me crazy. I'm sure some of you are already thinking about it. It's this big, giant, annoying Demon Matters guy. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. But yeah, Summoner's Sending. I like this card. You're going to not only exile stuff from graveyards that's pesky, like if it's a flashback card or if it's like a big creature that you don't want someone to reanimate, then you're going to create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying, so it also has evasion, which is really cool. But you're also going to put a 1/1 counter on it if the card's mana value is 4 or greater. So you're making 1/1 spirit creature tokens with flying, exiling stuff from graveyards, and if the stuff is big in the graveyard, you're putting a counter on it. So that's pretty sweet. Next up, we have Thanrid Waters. What a name. Thanrid. I'm Thanrid. My name is Thanrid. It's a pleasure to meet you. 4 and a white. Legendary creature, human warrior. This is also because of that cute little chocobo from one of the Commander decks, meaning This is not in the main set. This card is not going to be standard legal. The card has the F-word flash for a 3/5 with Royal Guard. When Thanrid Waters enters, another target legendary permanent you control gains indestructible for as long as you control Thanrid Waters. So that's kind of cool. This guy's going to protect your commander. Say somebody goes to, like, destroy your commander. Well, flash in Thanrid Waters. Now, if you have enough mana available, it also has this other fun thing. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Thanrid Waters gains indestructible until end of turn. So there's this fun effect in Magic the Gathering called a Flag Bearer. There's, like, Coalition Honor Guard. There's these cards that you have to deal with them first that say something like pesky, like, if a spell could target something, it has to target this thing first. So Thanrid Waters is kind of like one of these flag bearers in MTG. You have to deal with it before you deal with the commander. So this card is great for the 99. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Thanrid gains indestructible until end of turn. So whether you're like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and play this here Lotus Petal, or I'm just going to play a Signet, Thanrid's going to get indestructible until end of turn. And because Thanrid has indestructible, you can't deal with it, meaning you can't deal with the Royal Guard part of this card. When it enters, another target legendary permanent you control gains indestructible for as long as you control this card. So because you can't deal with Thanrid, you can't get through the Thanrid wall. So he's very pesky. This is a card that you play, you know, like mid-ish game, you know, around like turn 5 or 6 when you have mana open. That way somebody who's like, no, I kill Thanrid. You could be like, nope, I'm just going to go ahead and cast this little instant speed spell. All right, I'll path to exile your thing. Now Thanrid has indestructible. So there's so many different ways that you can make sure that Thanrid stays indestructible. And it's a really good card for under $1. Blue Mage's Cane is pretty tight as well. This card is also from the commander decks. 2 and a blue for an equipment that has job select. Equipped creature gets +0/+2, is a wizard in addition to its other types, and has whenever this creature attacks, exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from defending player's graveyard. If you do copy it, you may cast the copy by paying 3 rather than paying its mana cost. I love cards like Chaos Wand. I love cards that are kind of like based on whatever your other opponents are playing. I know like people like playing that new Gonti. Like people like playing cards that their opponents are playing. It kind of like creates this different kind of experience with each game. You're like, okay, what am I going to get to play this game? And Blue Mage's Cane is one of these cards that lets you do that. Whenever this creature attacks, exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from defending player's graveyard. If you do copy it, you may cast the copy by paying 3 rather than paying its mana cost. Say you're like milling your opponent or something like that, and there's a big splashy instant or sorcery, you might get to cast that big instant or sorcery by paying 3 rather than paying its mana cost. I know that this card is kind of dependent on what other people are playing, but I think it's fun, and that's why it's on this list. Summoning Materia. I was hyped on this card when the set first came out, and I'm still hyped on it. 2 and a green, another equipment, also from the commander decks. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. As long as this equipment is attached to a creature, you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Equipped creature has +2/+2 and has vigilance and has tap, add 1 green mana. The equip is very cheap as well. It is 2. There are a lot of cards in Magic the Gathering that allow you to play stuff off the top of your library. Bolas's Citadel, Mystic Forge, Oracle of Moldiah. I mean, that's just to name a few, but this effect is very strong. Being able to cast creature spells from the top of your library means you don't have to cast them from your hand. When you're casting stuff off the top of your library, what that's going to do is that's going to allow you good velocity. You're going to be able to dig through your deck. And if you cast stuff off the top, you're going to be more likely to find the spells that are going to help you close out the game. If you're able to keep your hand full, play off the top of your library, that's a really good advantage. And the fact that this card also gives the equipped creature +2/+2 and tap to add green is really cool. It turns something into a mana dork, so it's like the creature that you've equipped this to can help you cast the stuff off the top of your library. This is just another instance of green getting some really cool spell that's just absolutely busted, but you know what? Whatever. Speaking of really good green cards, this one kind of reminds me of Natural Order. Yuna's Decision, 3 and a green for sorcery. This is also from the commander decks. Choose 1. Continue the pilgrimage. Sacrifice a creature. If you do, draw a card. Then you may put a creature card and or land card from your hand onto the battlefield, or find another way. Return 1 or 2 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. So for 4 mana, we're getting like a double reclaim going on, like returning 2 permanent cards from our graveyard to our hand is really good. But I really like Continue the Pilgrimage. If you have something big and splashy in your hand, by sacrificing a creature, if you do, you not only draw a card, but then you may put, it says put, that's not even a cast, you may put a creature and or land card from your hand onto the battlefield. You could have like a freaking giant Eldrazi in your hand. Sack a creature, if you do draw a card, then you may put a creature and or land card from your hand onto the battlefield, just straight up negating its casting cost. I don't know what's not to like about this, but somehow the market has it at less than $1. Ultima, Origin of Oblivion, 5 for a 4/4 flying legendary creature god. Whenever Ultima attacks, put a blight counter on target land. For as long as that land has a blight counter on it, it loses all land types and abilities and has tap, add a waste. Whenever you tap a land for waste mana, add an additional waste. So this card effectively can turn your lands into ancient tombs if you want to put blight counters on your own stuff. Or you could be like, you know what? I hate your Cabal Coffers. I'm going to turn that into a waste. You could be like, I hate that Gaia's Cradle. You know, shout out to Scotty who plays this card in CDH alongside Metalwork Colossus, which is also a CDH card. Shout out to Scotty who plays Ultima, and dude, he'll just be like, yeah, we're just going to turn that Gaia's Cradle into some garbage. You know, any of these really good utility lands that we know about, I know a lot of you are looking at these Edge of Eternity lands, right? There's some stuff that's a lot like Cradle, a lot like Tolarian Academy that are coming out. Yeah, Ultimate Origin of Oblivion, that card seems like a really nice hose for those cards. And it's funny, when this card first debuted, it was like a $10 card, and now it's less than $1. So if this one isn't on your radar, it absolutely should be. And the fact that it's colorless means it can go in any deck. Any deck in the 99. Just close it out with Ultima Origin of Oblivion. Don't deal with any of those pesky lands anymore. That era of your life has ended. I also like Delivery Mughal, because Mughals are cute. Alright, moving on. No, I'm just kidding. 3 and a white, creature Mughal, flying 3/2. When this creature enters, search your library and or graveyard for an artifact card with mana value 2 or less, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle. Whether you're grabbing a mana rock, like your Soul Ring, or your Signet, or your Thought Vessel, or any freaking amazing equipment that costs 2 or less, any artifact, you could be like, I'm just going to go grab Grinding Station. Here's a moment of me searching to make sure that Grinding Station is 2 mana or less. Yeah, I knew it was. It is. It is 2. See? Whether you're getting that or Altar of Dementia, I'm not going to go in and name every single freaking awesome artifact card that's 2 or less. But the fact that this flying 3/2 is able to go in and search up an artifact and put it in your hand makes it a really fun, notable card. And this uncommon is from the main set, meaning this is standard legal. I think we've got past all of the cards that are from the commander decks, and the rest of this stuff is just going to be from the main set. But yeah, Delivery Mughal is really good. I like this card, and it should be on your radar if it isn't. Next up, in the spirit of Mughals, we have Mughal's Valor. 3 and 2 white for an instant. For each creature you control, create a 1/2 white Mughal creature token with lifelink. That's pretty good, right? For 5 mana at instant speed? Well, it doesn't end there, my friend. Then creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Wowzers. I don't know how many effects like this white needs. You know, they already have Teferi's Protection, Akroma's Will. So many of these cards, especially when you pair this up with green and you start getting into like heroic intervention territory, these redundant effects just drive me freaking crazy. But I had to put it on here because the card's less than $1. Giving the entire team indestructible is great. In response to that, board wipe. Yeah, I'm just going to give everybody indestructible. I feel like stuff like Wrath of God and Day of Judgment are just going to fall to the wayside as more and more effects like this come out, and people are just going to elect to play like Toxic Deluge and Farewell. And hopefully I'm wrong about Farewell, because Farewell is a terrible card. If you play that card, you're a terrible person. If you feel differently, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're just a terrible person if you play Farewell. But you know what? Go ahead and pat yourself on the back. Next up, we have Restoration Magic, 1 white instant. This card is tiered, meaning it's like modal. You can decide whether you want to pay a white and 0, a white and 1, or a white and another white and 3. And depending on, you know, it scales with the game, which is really cool about these spells. I like that these spells scale with the game. And it's really annoying, like Mughal's Valor. So for, at instant speed, a white and 0, target permanent gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Yeah, that's pretty good. For a white and 1, target permanent gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. You gain 3 life. So for 1 mana, you're getting 3 life as well. That's pretty good. Well, for 5... you're getting permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. You gain 6 life. They didn't need to give you that 6 life. They didn't need to do that. The spell was already busted as Curaga. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn would have been fine. For some reason, the designers of this set were like, yeah, not only will Mughal's Valor do this, but also Restoration Magic will do it. So we have a card that's just like a Heroic Intervention, another one of these spells that white can play to just completely circumvent board wipes. So, congratulations. This is me clapping. Clapping for white for all of the great spells that they continue to get. Okay, moving on to Venat Heart of This card is really good in Joda. 2 white and 1 legendary creature, Elder Wizard. It's a 3/3, and whenever you cast a legendary spell, draw a card. Dude, I played this in SpongeBob SquarePants, which is a Magic the Gathering card that's a human. Okay, you play this in SpongeBob SquarePants. It's a human sponge. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So you're just drawing cards whenever you cast legendary legend spells. So if you're like casting like a Shadow Spear, that's the same thing, right? You know, whether it's a legendary creature or legendary spell, you're going to be drawing a card. It triggers only once each turn, thank God. And then it also has Heroes Sundering. So for 7, when you get into that mid-game kind of like grindy area, you could pay 7 and tap, exile target non-land permanent, transform Venat, activate only as a sorcery. Did I mention every card on this list is less than $1? That's not bad. It also flips into a 4/4 called the Mother Crystal. Legendary creature God, indestructible, Blessing of Light. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on another target creature you control called SpongeBob SquarePants. It doesn't actually say that, but that's where this card thrives. Until your next turn, it gains indestructible. If that creature is legendary, draw a card. Dude, it says until your next turn. This card is like throwing Chernobyl on top of a freaking... Oh man, this joke was going to be so much better. It's not... Okay, we'll just go with throwing gasoline on the fire. This card is amazing in Joda, aka SpongeBob the Human Sponge. I can't tell you how amazing it is, but if you're playing a deck that is just packed full of legends, you should be playing this. That's all I need to say about it. Let's move on. We have... Oh, God, I hate the name of everything that came out of, like, Final Fantasy XIV. It drives me freaking crazy. Lewis's Sacrifice, 1 blue, instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sack a legendary creature or pay 2. Okay, that's pretty good. So a blue and 2. What kind of versatility do we get on this fun instant? Okay, counter target activated ability, triggered ability, or non-creature spell. This is amazing. Countering a non-creature spell is already freaking awesome, especially if you can sack like a token, right? Which you can't because it says legendary creature. God darn it, Jake, read the freaking card. If you sacrifice a legendary creature, you can just pay 1 blue. But if you are even paying this for a blue and 2 other, it's still not that bad. The fact that this has activated ability and triggered ability bundled into a counter spell for non-creature spells, like a negate with all this upside, is just freaking awesome. So yeah, you should be playing this if you're in blue. I don't play blue, which is why I'm not able to read blue cards, because I hate that color in Magic. It's the color of the Springfield Blue Devils from Ohio. Blue Devils. Oh man, my jokes are so off tonight. Summon Leviathan, 4 and 2 blue. As this saga enters and after your draw step, add a lore counter. Sacrifice after 3. It's a 6/6 with word 2 for 6. Oh, but you know what's really annoying? All of these sagas, and I've complained about sagas forever, there's just too much value. You make this initial investment in mana, and then you get all of these insane effects. The first, lore counter. Return each creature that isn't a Kraken, Leviathan, Merfolk, Octopus, or Serpent to its owner's hand. If you are playing against someone in Merfolk, expect them to have this card. Shout out to Scotty. Until end of turn, whenever a Kraken, Leviathan, Merfolk, or Octopus, or Serpent attacks, draw a card. Whenever a Kraken, whenever a Merfolk. That is like the whole team. Not only does this card freaking offer 6/6 with Ward 2 for 6, it's also offering this amazing bounce if you're playing any of these creature types. It also offers an amazing draw engine. I can't believe this card is less than $1. I hope that people just forget about this card. I shouldn't have even put it in the video. I hate it. Ardan. I talked earlier about a card that is just really, really, really annoying to play against. If you're playing limited and someone has Ardan in their deck and they get to it, you will lose. I promise you, you will lose. You will not get out from under this thing. 5 and 3 black for a 4/4. Legendary creature, Elder Human Noble. Demons you control have Menace, Lifelink, and Haste. That is disgusting. But it also has Star Scourge. At the beginning of combat on your turn, exile up to 1 target creature card from a graveyard. If you exiled a card this way, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 5/5 black demon. This is the most disgusting card imaginable. It costs 8 mana, which makes sense. It should be absolutely disgusting if you get to 8. If you reanimate this guy, anything like that, you're going to get that life back because of all the lifelink that's attached to it. You're going to be able to exile things, turn it into big demons. And it does say return, exile up to 1 target creature card from a graveyard. If you exile the card this way, create a token that's a copy of that card. So you will get an ETB. Not only is it a copy of that card that comes back as a 5/5 black demon, meaning it's going to shrink big stuff, but it's going to make little stuff really big, big threats. Ardan is really dumb. I can't stand this card. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. It's extremely good, and the way that I can tell a card is good is if it pisses me off when I have to play against it. So yeah, Ardan is extremely strong. And it's less than $1. Final Fantasy also brought one of my favorite removal spells in recent history. This uncommon is called Overkill. 2 and a black, instant, target creature gets -0, -9,999 until end of turn. That is a meme from the game, but in Magic the Gathering, that is a mean removal spell. This is getting around anything with Indestructible. That really annoying Blightsteel Colossus, yeah, we don't care. It's gone. Any freaking creature in the game, Overkill is going to kill it. So the name of this card makes a lot of sense. It's a really fun meme. I love that it's from Final Fantasy X. I love that game. Yeah, here we have just a really good removal spell. I don't really need to dig much deeper into this to tell you why this is good, but it gets around all of the pesky stuff like Indestructible, and that is just great. Next up, we have Summon Primal Odin, 4 and 2 black for a 5/3. This is also a Saga, one of these enchantment creatures. Saga Knight. The first lore counter, when it enters, destroy target creature and opponent controls. Sweet, we've got like Ravenous Chupacabra energy going on with this. Second lore counter, Xantasuken. This creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Wow, that is very freaking amazing. If you have a Rogue's Passage, you could just be like, all right, we're going to sneak him through. Put it on them. Do they have a removal spell for it? Or no, this is an absolute lightning rod for removal. The fact that it comes in, destroys something, the fact that on the second lore counter you have an opportunity to kill somebody or kill somebody just simply by connecting when it deals combat damage, that's freaking awesome. If you want to like play like a what's that blue spell, Artful Dodge, just give something unblockable until end of turn, get him through, protect him, put him in like a Dimir deck or something like that. I really feel like it could shine in there. And then it also has on the third lore counter, Hall of Sorrows. So right before it gets sacrificed, you're going to get this effect. Draw 2 cards, each player loses 2 life. So you just get this like really nice sign in blood at the end. Yeah, what's not to like? It's pretty cool, nice and versatile. It has target, or that player loses the game on it. That's freaking awesome, man. Now, Fire Magic is on the list because this is an effect that I would typically expect to be at sorcery speed because it's like a red board wipe for small stuff. It's another one of these cards that has tiered. So 1 red instant, a red and 0, you're going to get fire. It deals 1 damage to each creature. Okay. It has Fyra. So for a red and 2, it deals 2 damage to each creature, or it also has Fyraga. Fire Magic deals 3 damage to each creature. So stuff like Anger of the Gods, Sweltering Suns, these are cards that are typically sorcery speed. The fact that this is instant speed makes it a really pesky little trick to deal with. If you are in a go wide kind of situation, swinging out at your opponent and they are in red, I would say, you know, like, keep in mind, like, people might start running this spell. I think it's pretty good. I know it's probably just built for limited, but I have been blown out by fire magic. This card just is really annoying, and the fact that red has this instant speed kind of sweeper that they can use nowadays is pretty fantastic. And if they build their deck right, it's going to have kind of like a little bit of finagling that they can do to kind of make sure that their stuff stays out of range. But a really good card for just taking out all the pesky small stuff on the board at instant speed. And then we also have Cipher Alma, 3 in a red, legendary creature, human knight. For a 3/4, whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. That's pretty sweet, right? Well, it also has Firecross. When Cipher deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So that's a fun little extra effect that comes with this double striker here. In red, I just wanted to include this card because I do think that he's pretty fun. On combat damage, he essentially gives something in your graveyard flashback for free, which is really awesome. And because it's double strike, you're going to get it twice. So if you're playing a lot of cheap instant and sorcery cards, Cipher seems like a really good inclusion in a deck like that, just because you're going to get double duty out of those cards. So I like this guy, wanted to include him in the list. Next, we have Togal, a fine Hound, and this is a card that I would include in any sort of human matters deck. If you're running like a lot of humans and you're in green, you should probably be running Togal. Not only is it a mana dork, but it's going to help grow your team. A green and one other, legendary creature Wolf. Whenever you cast your first human creature spell each turn, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each dog and or wolf you control. So it counts itself, it is a wolf, and it adds 1 mana of any color. So it's a 2/2 bear. When you look at the evolution of bears in MTG, a bear is just a 2/2 for 2. This is amazing how far we've come. Not only is this a mana dork, they didn't, you know, make its toughness any cheaper. They didn't make it like a 2/1 that does this. They were just like, you know what? Yeah, sure, it's a 2/2. It's a 2/2 wolf. We've seen a lot of wolves in Magic the Gathering that are 2/2s, and so they just kind of like stuck with that and then put a lot of upside on it. It's also an uncommon, so wrap your head around that. Then we got to Black Waltz number 3, and oh my god, this is probably my favorite card from the set. I love everything about it. Not only am I a Rakdos player at heart, but this card does everything that I want it to do. 2, a black and a red for a 2/2 flying Death Touch. This is a wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Black Waltz number 3 deals 2 damage to each opponent. It's my understanding that they tested this at 3 damage to each opponent, and it was just way too freaking busted, and they had to throttle it back, and I don't blame them. I have built this as a pauper deck. Paige has it built as like a regular commander deck. I want to build another version of it that's just like a very sweaty kind of deck, because it's like you can like turn 1 get Black Waltz out with like a in commander get Black Waltz out with like a dark writ, get him out, and then just sit there and be like, and I'll play a Lotus Petal, and I'll play a Signet, and I will protect him with stuff like Alesha's Legacy, or Supernatural Stamina, or Not Dead After All. I like to get him out there and just protect him, because not only is he a really good blocker being flying in Death Touch, but also people are going to want to remove him because he's burning everybody down. What's really fun about this deck is it is a deck, and you can check our mocks field if you want to check out our deck lists. What's really fun about him is he's burning everybody together, and the game is going very quickly. I like that about this deck, because as you cast non-creature spells, everybody is dying, and at a glance, they're going to be like, is he even that good? But then once he's out for just a little bit, and you start casting non-creature spells, you know, like you're like Thrill of Possibility. Everybody take 2. I'm going to draw 2 cards. And you're casting stuff like Laughing Mad, which has flashback. I really suggest cards with flashback in here. I like Faithless Looting in this deck, stuff like that. Just dig through the deck, burn everybody down with draw spells, protect Black Waltz. The card is awesome, whether you have it in the 99 or whether you're running it as your commander. I think it really gives Kuja a run for the money as like the big fun Rakdos legend that came out of Final Fantasy. Genova Ancient Calamity. Now, this is a card I haven't played very much, but I love the way it reads. 2, a black and a green for a 1/5 legendary creature, Alien, which is the best movie of all time. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to Genova's power on up to one other target creature. That creature becomes a mutant in addition to its other types. Whenever a mutant you control dies during your turn, you draw cards equal to its power. So if you're running stuff like Ashnod's Altar, if you're running stuff that's like just sacrifice outlets like Viscera Seer, stuff like that, that seems very good in Genova. You're going to keep your hand full, you're going to draw a lot of cards, make stuff mutants, that kind of stuff. If you make Genova big, you're going to be putting a lot of counters on stuff, but I don't even think you really need to do that. All you need to do is turn stuff into a mutant, and when it dies, you're going to draw a lot of cards, and Genova just sits there like a really, really good draw engine. And when your commander's a really, really good draw engine, you don't have to depend on cards in your 99 to like have a ton of draw on them. So it gives you more deck versatility, because one of the best things that you could do in Magic the Gathering is draw cards. That's how you keep your resources full. And if you keep resources in your hand, you're going to be able to keep up with your opponents, not fall behind, and hopefully close out the game. But yeah, Genova is really good. I think this is a fantastic Golgari card, and it offers a lot of velocity for just getting through your deck, just because of so much draw that's built into it. And I know I already talked about Black Waltz, but Kuja as well, Genome Sorcerer. 2, a black and a red legendary creature, human mutant wizard. So it is a mutant. At the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 0/1 black wizard creature token with, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then if you control 4 or more wizards, transform Kuja. So if you're building Black Waltz and it isn't Pauper, Kuja needs to be in your deck. If you're building Kuja, you need to have Black Waltz in your deck. Those two go hand in hand. They're both from the same game. They're just like 2 peas in a pod, these cards. It flips into Trance Kuja, Fate Defied, 4/6, and it has Flame Star, Avatar Wizard. If a wizard you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. So all those little pesky 0/1 token wizards that whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it's dealing 1 to each opponent, those all start to deal 2. And that game is going to be over quick. So when people are like, oh man, it's 3 a.m., but I want to play one more game, get out the Kuja deck. Squall, CD Mercenary. Let me know in the comments how I'm supposed to pronounce that. Seed Mercenary. I don't know why that's a capital D. I don't get it. I remember playing Final Fantasy VIII, but it was years ago, and I just forget. I forget what that means. 2, a white and a black for a 3/4. Legendary creature, Human Knight Mercenary. Has Rough Divide. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. That's really fun. It's got like the Cipher kind of thing going on. If you remember, I think these two are rivals. Whenever Squall deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it just has like a Sun Titan kind of effect. It has permanent card mana value 3 or less from graveyard to the battlefield. So as you play stuff, as you cast stuff, as stuff dies, Squall is there to get it back. It is combat damage. So because of double strike, you're going to get one thing, and if he gets through again, you're getting another thing. So if you're like throwing stuff into the yard, get it back with Squall. I actually think that this card is kind of fun in like my Carador deck, which is a junk deck, and it's like each turn I can cast stuff from my yard. It's like a graveyard-centric kind of Obzon colors, and I feel like Squall could actually be really fun in there as well. If I want to like attack and get back like my Eternal Witness or any other number of really good cards that are going to let me just get more fuel out of my yard. I like Squall. This card's been on my radar. It's an iconic character. I know Final Fantasy VIII didn't get a ton of love in this set. We weren't even able to talk about Gunblades, and that's why I'm going to say it here. Gunblade, 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 Gunblade. Speaking of blades, we have Excalibur II. This card is also from Final Fantasy IX. 1 for this equipment, legendary artifact equipment. Whenever you gain life, put a charge counter on Excalibur II. Equip creature gets +1/+1 for each charge counter on Excalibur II, and it has equip of 3. If you're in a life gain matters, here's a card that you probably want to consider. Throw it on your Sarah Ascendant. You know, that's a really fun card that people love to see on turn 1. Throw it on something like that. If you are in life gain, you just want to be able to like crack in for a ton, put this on your Soul Sister. Put this on You know, just any creature in that deck, throw it on a spirit, just crack it in the air. The counters don't go away. Whenever you gain life, put a charge counter on this equipment. So it's not like when that creature dies, those counters just poof, they're gone. Oh no, where'd all my counters go? No, they sit on Excalibur II. You can move the equipment around and you could be like, oh, that creature died, I'm going to put it on this creature. So it's just an equipment that just powers up throughout the game. And yeah, it could become very, very big very quickly depending on the amount of life you're gaining. And then we have the Gold Saucer. Not only is this a really fun spot to go in Final Fantasy VII if you want to do some chocobo racing or just, you know, what feels like, oh, we're at the casino. It's a really fun spot to go. I love in Magic when you can put unique effects on your lands because the lands have to be in the deck no matter what in order for it to function. This game has not solved the mana problem like so many other card games have. You have to have lands in your deck in order to cast spells. You don't get to like resource stuff like in Lorcana or Star Wars Unlimited or any of these other games that are like, yeah, just play those cards face down. Those become your mana to tap stuff. No, you have to have lands. So if you can put unique effects on your lands, then your deck doesn't have to be like affected by that. You're like, okay, I'll run Gold Saucer, and Gold Saucer is going to allow me to either tap for a waste or pay 2, flip a coin. If you win the flip, create a treasure token. So that's kind of like the gambling of the Gold Saucer right there. And then for 3 and tap, sack 2 artifacts, draw a card. So if you're in an artifacts kind of matters thing, like say I'm playing like a Mycosynth Wellspring or an Ichor Wellspring, like both those cards are on the battlefield, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pay 3, tap, sack 2 artifacts, I'm going to draw off the Ichor Wellspring, I'm going to go get another land from the Mycosynth Wellspring, and now I'm also going to draw a card from the Gold Saucer. This is like a really good way to sacrifice artifacts. So if you're in an artifacts matters kind of thing where you want to be sacrificing artifacts, this seems like a really good inclusion because you have draw a card on a land. And typically draw a card on a land is a pretty steep cost, but this is only 3, but you do have to sacrifice artifacts in order to do it. So if you have food, if you have treasure, just like a superfluous amount of either of those, this seems like a really fun card in your deck. We have Lightning Security Sergeant, 2 in a red, legendary creature, human soldier, menace. Whenever lightning deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as you control lightning. So they don't go away at the end of the turn or at the end of your next turn. They just pile up until lightning gets removed. So lightning should be one of these cards that is like, okay, you know, that's a lightning rod. People are going to want to get rid of that card. However, they do have to use removal on it, right? Or it just dies to like a board wipe or something like that. But red typically has this kind of like impulse draw where it's like, you do this and you get to play stuff off the top of your library. Lightning just kind of falls into that niche. So I like this card for that reason. Every single card on this list, I know it was the 20 under 20 list, and I know I lied to you and I put 25 cards on it, but I think all of these cards are really good. I hope you did enjoy this list. If you did, click like, click subscribe. We'd love to have you back in the future. I love Final Fantasy. I know we're on the edge of 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 Eternities, which is like the leakiest Magic the Gathering ship that I think I've ever seen. So many leaks have come out for Edge of Eternities. It's honestly kind of disappointing because we're ambassadors on that set. I know like a lot of people are going to be spoiling those cards, and people are going to be like, yeah, I've already seen the entire set. I feel like all of Edge of Eternities has already been spoiled. Maybe it's because it's coming on the heels of Final Fantasy, which is just this massive hit, and they want people to be like super hyped on it, but I feel like people would have been hyped on the space set either way. Let me know what you think about that. All of these names are our patrons at the $10 level or higher. These are people that go the extra mile and support Martishius Magic in a big way by putting their hard-earned dollars out there behind the channel. There is exclusive content over on Patreon. If you want to support the channel, we also still have these really fun serialized tokens. I think there's about 50 of them left that are number 1 out of 100 that are left over from the old channel. Once they're gone, they're gone. You will get that token for signing up at any level over on Patreon, so definitely consider that. Big thank you for taking your time to watch this video. I hope to see you in the future. I'm Jake, and goodbye. See you later. I love you. Something about love. All right, goodbye.